When you started this process, did you see yourself being here in this position right now?
Not at all. I started fighting because I thought it was a fun thing to do, and then wanted to get into Invicta. I wanted to take it as far as I could, and no, like back in the day, a year ago, I would have never expected myself to get this far, and I just took it one step at a time. And I got in the house, and then I'm like, hey, I want to win this. It didn't work for me in the house, but hopefully in the future. But I would have never expected to be this far, and I'm really happy and really honored to be given that chance and to be able to show everyone what I could do.
What was the moment, the pivotal moment, where you decided that you were going to be a fighter?
Um, I loved wrestling when I was younger, and then I got into the jiu-jitsu, and then my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, I went to watch his very first fight, amateur fight at an event, and right there I was like, I gotta get in that cage. This is so cool. This is so awesome. That's when like it clicked in. Like I'm doing this.
So obviously he won.
Yes, you did. It was an amazing fight, and it was just the hype and just getting in that cage, and they shut the door behind you, and it's just you and your opponent, and that's it, and it's just an amazing feeling.
And you weren't scared or put off by the fighting of your boyfriend, now husband?
I was scared at like the only thing that scared me was just getting punched in the face, like the unknown. How is it gonna feel? But once you get in there, once I got in there for my first fight, I didn't feel anything because your adrenaline's rushing so fast. So after that, I was like, all right, I love this. I'm gonna continue doing it. I never looked back since.
Now you've had big two upset wins, and then the loss to Rose, who's seen as a big favorite. How do you see this fight with Rose and her opponent tomorrow going?
Um, I don't know. Carla's pretty predictable. She's got her wrestling. She's also got some stand up. But even though you predict her wrestling, can you stop it? So and then you have Rose, who's pretty wild. Her wild kicks and her submissions from nowhere. It's gonna be really interesting to see if Carla can control her and take her to her world. So I'm not sure how it's gonna go.
No prediction.
I don't know. I was saying that maybe Rose will win, but who knows? I don't know. I'm a really big favorite of wrestlers, so we'll
So
see.
you've been in the house with everybody, and you have your fight coming up with Pena. How are you approaching this?
I've been training really hard. I've been focused on, myself and focused on what I can do. I'm just gonna, do what I always do. Try to close the gap and break down the body and then take it to the ground. But we'll see. She's got a really good ground game. But I feel like I have a pretty good ground game as well. So we'll see.
Do fighting in the house in that environment, and now you're in your natural environment preparing for this fight? Which do you prefer, and why?
I think it's clear that I prefer my own environment. It was definitely difficult. I mean, it was a great experience, yes, and I'm happy I did it, but it's not realistic. And just like you can see, like that last episode, how much it took out of me to be there every day and just to pretend that things weren't bothering me. And yeah, I don't have to deal with that at home. I don't have to deal with negative environment constantly. I like to train in a really positive environment, and everyone around me is positive. My coaches are positive, so it's definitely different. And I'd rather be at home training.
What would you say is the biggest positive and the biggest negative of being in TUF?
The biggest positive was seeing where I stand and everything. Just walking in there with no expectations at all, like people not expecting anything from me, and walk out of there, being in the running for a belt. That's the biggest positive. The biggest negative would be like people's attitude. You go in there thinking you're gonna train with the best in the world or professional athletes, and they act so unprofessional. That was like really sad to see, but it just shows what kind of person you are and what kind of people they are, what kind of attitudes they have, and it just bothered me to see how far people have gotten with their attitude. Someone like being a champ, at Invicta and having such a horrible attitude. It's just that bothered me, but it doesn't matter. It all matters what you can bring in the cage.
Who did you gravitate the most to? build a friend? Who did you build a friendship the most with? You say in the house.
Right away, I became friends with Joanne Calderwood. We were both the same. We're both really quiet. We both had the same mindset going into that house. We didn't let anything bother us. You know, no matter what, we were going to stay focused and do what we were there for, which is train hard, get as much knowledge as we can from these coaches, and perform well. So she was awesome from day one till now. She's an awesome friend. Also, Ashling and Alex, really cool people.
Now, this will air after your fight with Rose. What would you have done differently in that fight?
It was, you know, Rose is a really good, she's a good striker, she's a good submission artist. But I was not focused. I felt that I was not focused that day. I'm not going to take anything from her. And I also, like, I have a lot to work on, definitely a lot to work on, and I've taken that back to my training camp and worked on it. But I rushed things. I remember walking out of that cage thinking, man, why did I rush it? Like, I just wanted to go home. I didn't even care. And it showed, like, who wanted it more. So hopefully in the future I'll have a different training camp and not one in the house, and I'll get to fight her again.